Hi, everyone. This is Bullseye handicapping of the horse player, not of the horse racing data. I watch a lot of shows on television, on YouTube, Fast the Wire. I watch SETI. I watch Aradona. I watch Sterling. I love the shows during the week. Um, Day at the races. I watch. I like Tom. I'm glad Tom Amos is. Um, now being a commentator, I've been playing the races for 40 years, and I wanted to start talking about the horse player. And also, I wanted to start talking about how useless horse racing information is. Um, I put up these signs that I like to share with you. Uh, I think the first one would be the racing form. Useless. Racing form is just an addiction. It's something that I was addicted to for 40 years, the racing form. Thoroughgraph sheets, the numbers. Addicted to them for probably 15. Before that, the Ragusan sheets. Time form for pace, right? Um, and then quite a bit of other horse racing. All of it is useless. It's totally useless. There's no reason to be addicted to that. Basically, it's just, us being a jerk, jerking off to horse racing information, thinking that that information will give us a desired end result. It doesn't give us the desired end result anywhere near the percentage that we thought it would when we first started. I came into this game thinking, man, I like to have fun with this, and I like to get really, really good at it and learn all these different methods, pace, the sheets, mastering and make racing form. All useless after 40, 30 years for me. I realized 10 years ago that, and it took me 10 years to actualize it, to actually, walk through the fire and get out of the fucking ocean and thinking that I could be one of the 15% winners in our game. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I decided 10 years ago to make a paradigm change. Get the fuck out of it. I know. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. And I tried spending 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, um, hours, handicapping before that for days. I mean, going totally into the addiction of being in a horse racing bubble. And when you're in the horse racing bubble, that means everything else is not available anymore. Your family, your wife, your job, anything you do does not get the adequate attention because you're in the horse racing bubble. Thinking that horse racing information um, can give you, if you master it, can give you a desired end result. It doesn't. What I've learned after 40 years is that you basically have to get lucky and get paid. You have to just get lucky and get paid and do it as infrequently as possible. I used to bet 2,500 races a year. 2,500 races a year. And all I did was I was like Mr. Clean, just washed money. I had some enjoyable experiences, but not nearly enough. Thinking that, this horse racing information can help me, so I'm going to master it. No, burn it. Burn the racing form. Throw away the thoroughgraph sheets. Throw away the time form pace ratings. Throw away your ego. You got to eliminate your ego. You have to eliminate your ego of I know, I know, I know. The good thing about being an old dude, I'm 70, and that's why I put this thing in the back instead of showing myself, because I'm all about the ego busting, no ego. And that's the only reason I'm able to, one of the reasons why I'm able to detach, to develop the art of detachment, as it says up there on that sign, to detach and go into the bleachers, and never ever open up a racing form again. I haven't opened up a racing form recently, and I never plan on opening up a racing because I know it's useless. I know it's just jerking off with information to give yourself brave enough to come up with a conclusion. Because as soon as you open that up, whether it's Thorograph, whether it's Ragusan sheets, whether it's time form, whether it's racing form, it doesn't matter whether it's Michael Bozzola, the value handicapping he did. I followed him for 30 years. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's an addiction. You're addicted to handicapping something, thinking you're gonna know something, and you're gonna be able to shine for the hour, shine for the race, shine for the day, shine for the month, shine for the year. Nah, man. 15% winners in the game. 15%. A large 25% wash money. Mr. Clean. All they do is wash money. But they don't win. They act like they win, but they don't win. This game's too hard. This game is almost impossible. It is so, 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 so difficult. And you have to understand that and respect that. And I did 10 years ago. And 6 years ago, I started my The Ego Buster program of just, you don't know, Danny. It's no different than, the nice thing about being 70 is that it's no different than, relationships, like with women and stuff like that. I haven't had a relationship in 2 years. I can't because I'm not available to that anymore. So I have to accept that. And I've been addicted to being able to have the privilege of being with a woman for what? Almost 50 years. Okay, so now I can't. Now it's over. I'm done. I have to accept that. I can't rollerblade for 4 hours a day like I used to, 6 hours a day. I still can dance for 6 hours, but I can't rollerblade. So you learn a lot of what I can't. So you use that same kung fu to horse racing. I'm not one of the 15% winners. I can't do this game the way I wanted to do it. So I have to accept that. That's a mofo, Joe. That's a motherfucker to do. To accept the fact that you have to, not play, and at minimal not play almost 90% less than you used to. So now I can only play 250 races a year, and that's it. Otherwise, sit out. The good thing is that the game makes it good that makes it you able to do that because of the fact that a lot of races aren't even playable. I mean, a lot of races aren't even playable. Like for example, you got the Jim Dandy coming up this week. 5 horses. Who gives a shit? 5 horses. It doesn't matter. It's not worthy of an investment for nothing, for no reason whatsoever, unless you have, an ego that you know something, or you have an ego that you developed a story in your head that tells you that you can, go into your pocket and make a bet. That's what we do. That's what a horse players do. It's the next day, the next race. Let me see what I can see. And as soon as you open up the racing form, you're on fire. You're gonna dance with the babe. It's no different than a guy coming out of prison and he looks in the window and he sees a naked girl. He has to be with her. The force is no different than cocaine or heroin or any other addiction. You're gonna do it. The activation with horse racing is the racing form, horse racing information. So the elimination of it is your strength. It's your Samson, and it's you being strong. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger strong. You don't open up the racing form, and I'll never open up a racing form again. I'll never look at a Thorograph number again. I follow Pastor White. I used to watch all those shows for years. I watched, Focus to the Finish setting. I watch it because they're part of the tribe. You know, I watch it because of the fact that it's information. It's real information. And later I'll come up with um, something that I've been able to do um, uh, to replace looking at a horse racing information. If you still wanted to play those 250 races a year, what that in another video I'll start showing that, or I'll go live and show you what my process is. Um, because of the fact that I'm not handicapping a race and I'm not looking at horse racing information, that allows me to leave the horse racing bubble. Now I go into the world bubble, and I can't believe how unbelievably crazy it is out here. And that's probably why I went in the horse racing bubble, is because how insane it is out in the world. But I'm gonna find. I'm 70 years old. I'm gonna find my last days to be enjoyable. And everything I do, I want it to be enjoyable. I don't want to have unpleasant experiences anymore. If once in a while I want to, use my crystal clear clarity board, and I'll show you that, and get involved in doing what you guys are doing, I'll do that. But I'm going to do that as infrequently as possible, because now I'm going into the world bubble, and it's tough out here, man. I'm running into all kinds of obstacles. But also, it's new. It's new. Unfortunately, when you come back into the world bubble, you find that you don't have any friends, you don't have a wife, you don't have children that want to share their lives with you. You're in a situation where you've been in your bubble for 40. I've been in my bubble for 40 years. I'm coming out like a what comes out of the hole? Some kind of animal. I'm doing that, and the sun hits my face. Because I was in that hole for 40 years. I'm blinded. I'm blinded by the fact that it is unbelievable out in the world bubble. But it's way better than being in the horse racing bubble and doing something that is just become self-destructive, because I was addicted to horse racing information, which I'll show you is useless in future videos. Totally useless. I'll be able to do the same thing that you're doing, but not having to look at one line, not having to look at one thing on the racing form. All I need to know is numbers, and all I need to know is what the odds are, and then I form a crystal clear clarity board, and that crystal clear clarity board basically tells me what not only you're thinking as a horse player, but now what the trainers are thinking, the owners are thinking, and where the money goes. And that's the true handicapping of the game. That's my full circle. That's my, after 40 years, my awakening. My awakening is that you guys can do all the handicapping. You'll tell me exactly who the contenders are. You'll tell me who's the mid contenders. And then you'll show me who the dismissed horses are, just through an odds board. I don't have to look at any horse racing information at all. Total elimination of ego. Total elimination of 2 days of handicapping. And then on a day like this, it's probably raining up there. It's going to be sloppy. So all of your handicapping doesn't mean a thing. I don't have to handicap anything, not one thing. All I have to do, if I'm interested, is look at an odds board. And sometimes I can go through the exercise, but I'm not playing, but I'm going through the exercise to figure out the mojo of the experience. And I've been doing it for about a week. And I'd like you to follow along with me. And if you have any questions, I'm at 475-206-6569. And come along with the journey. I'm addicted to watching all these different shows, and I watch them in an addictive way because, as a horse player, I would just, you just become an addicted person in pretty much everything you do. It's no different than any other human being. It's just in our case, I went into the horse racing bubble, but now I'm in the world bubble and I'm sharing because I got the time. I don't have to look at one line on the racing form. I don't have to look at one thoroughbred number. I don't have to look at past the wire to find out the key race of the day. I'm gonna find all of that out when I see the odds, when I see the daily doubles, when I see money flow. And then from that information, remember what's the most valuable thing that's added there is that now it's not just handicapping. It's handicapping plus the trainer, plus the owner, plus the jockey, plus everybody they told what actually could happen. And that mixed in together basically gives you a complete handicap. A complete handicap. The odds boards gives you a complete handicap. Crystal clear clarity board. And I'll show you that when I go through the races on a day that I'm gonna have fun. And because now it's not about, again, I have total ego elimination. I can't. Total ego elimination. I can't win at the game the way I'm playing. So I'm getting out of that horror show like a Dexter movie. I'm getting out of that bloody experience, that battle, that fucking insanity. I'm getting out of it. I'm getting out of it. I'm out. I walk through the fire. I get the fuck out of the ocean. I can't move my arms anymore out in the ocean. So I got to get out. And I get on land. And getting on land is doing it only 10% of the time like I used to do it. So it's only possibly 250 races. And only making an investment when I'm wowed. Only when I have a felt sense when the bet makes me. Similar to a lot of the people's shows, same philosophy in that manner. No doubt about it. Again, you got to train yourself to be a winner. You've got to train yourself to be a winner. You ask yourself the question, did I come to play or did I come to win? Did I come to play or did I come to win? If you came to play, you're Action Jackson, right? If you came to play, you're an addicted horse player. You love to handicap races. And as soon as you open it up, you're dancing. You're dancing with the naked women. But the naked women have VD because you don't have all the information. You don't have the jockey, the trainer, you don't have the golden, package. That's the information and that's the odds board. The guy at Shake Up goes toward this a little bit. This whole philosophy. I've been watching him for quite a few years. And his Mofo Joe is similar to this, but it's not all the way there. I'm trying to go all the way there. And he's had a big impact on me because of the fact that I love watching other people play because, that I'm part of their tribe. That's me. That's me. I've done everything they've done. I've done everything Shake Up's done. I've done everything Gio said he's done. I've done everything the guy who does Past the Wire. I've done more than, same Andy Serling, same tribe, all the same tribe. But the difference is that I'm not interested in playing races. I'm not interested in playing a race after race. The game has conditioned us to go with pick threes, pick fours, daily doubles. They're the biggest pools. They're the biggest pools because people want the crackerjack. They want the prize in the crackerjack. I don't want the crackerjack. I'll just take a couple of kernels. Because I'm 70 years old. I'm at the end of that. My awakening is the fact that I can't. My awakening is the fact that I can't. And I'm okay with it. But I can have a little bit of fun over there for a little while before I leave this world. And the way I'm going to do that, I'll show you when I go live with you. Obviously, today's a mess over at Saratoga. So it's really difficult to have opportunities because it just, handicappers want certainty, right? They want certainty. A sloppy track doesn't give anything close to certainty. I mean, a handicap is not even going to get involved. He needs a little tinge of certainty. A muddy, sloppy track turns off 70% of the people. It's a good day to leave the horse racing bubble and talk to one of your family members. A good time to talk to one of your children. A good time just to talk to someone else, just to exchange, each other's beauty, because everyone's still beautiful, no doubt about that. But getting back to the mofo Joe, so to speak, right? Again, I'm gonna try to show you that you could still play this game, especially retired guys like me. You could play this game and have an enjoyable horse racing experience, like you originally planned on doing from the beginning. You can do that. You can follow me. You can talk to me. You can email me. I'm theenergizer528@gmail.com. I'll put that up. This is my first episode in quite a while that I'm putting out, but everything's changed. Everything's changed. My disciplines have changed. I've graduated. I'm a black belt now, and now what I got to do is I got to go after my masters, and my masters is to never ever open up a racing form again, to never ever look at a Bragason number, a thoroughgraph number, a time form number, a pace analysis, and everything else. I don't need to. I want to be crystal clear about that. I don't need to anymore. I've broken my addiction. I don't want to be the jerk anymore. The jerk who jerks off with horse racing information thinking he knows and learns and is humbled by the fact that he doesn't. I am become aware. You can become aware. I'll show you. I've been going through this for 10 years, really hard the last 6, and intensely in the last 2, and like a maniac in the last 2 months. And overwhelmed by the joy of getting here in the last 2 days, so to speak. Meaning that to arrive at a new beginning, a new beginning. Horse players don't like to change nothing. My buddy over there, Shake Up, he just stays with Gulfstream. He doesn't play maiden special weights, which he should try. He should just dance, not take Gulfstream so seriously because he knows too much about it. Switch it up here and there. The more you don't know is the more you know. The guy had passed the wire. He's now expanding. He's expanding into different fields, more complexity. No, keep it simple. Joe, said he plays like crazy. Play, all kinds of different plays. That's insanity at its most unbelievable state. But it's all okay. I've experienced every single one of those things that I've talked about. And I have no negativity toward anybody else in the tribe. Anybody who's a horse player, man, they're so resilient. I mean, I'm doing it 40 years. You're not resilient, but if I showed you a picture of me, you'd say, man, that motherfucker was definitely in a battle. No doubt about it. I'm a horse player. I went into the horse bubble for 40 years. I didn't pay attention to my family. I didn't pay attention to my children. I didn't pay attention to the world. I couldn't. I was broken and blessed, as the horse's name is, from day one. But I was broken. So I went and hid in the horse racing bubble. But my last years, I'm coming out. And I know it's going to be beautiful because it already is. One day out from your obsession and your addiction, it's unbelievable. I mean, the amount of anxiety I feel now, presently, is reduced almost 85% because I'm not totally insane handicapping. I'm not trying to figure something out. In my mind, I'm already dead. So I don't have to achieve anything. I just got to be. I just got to let things flow. I just have to continually practice my disciplines and live a life that the way I want to live it. Not out of control, not totally insane, not ba ba boo boo, which all of us have experienced because that's life. Doesn't matter where we are and what we're doing. It's life. That's the thing. The good thing is I never complain. I got nothing to complain about. My heart's beating. I'm breathing. I'm still capable to dance. I'm still capable to rollerblade. I got my clickety clacks. Basically, all distractions away from my insanity. All distractions away from my um, desire to handicap races. Open up a racing forum and do another race. Do another race. And how many races could if I bet 2,500 races a year times 40 years? My God, enough. It's enough. To get to this point, though, is almost impossible. But the good thing is that, again, a horse player is one of the most resilient, tough guys that I've ever met. I mean, we have all kinds of techniques of, kidding ourselves, like having a giant eraser, being able to erase a negative experience after negative experience. I like to talk to you about how, what do you think that does to you? Year in, year out, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. You're going through this roller coaster ride of emotions over a game, over playing a game, over gambling, over thinking you know something, which the possibility of you being successful at it is very low. Yet you think you can do it. It's like jumping over, a little lake, thinking that you're not going to get wet, and doing it again and again and again and again and again, year after year after year. God forgive him, for he does not know what he does. God forgive him for he does not know what he does. Because he's fucking insane. Because I was fucking insane. But again, broken, born broken. There was a comfort there. But again, paradigm change. I can't take it anymore. I'm done. I'm done. But I still know that I have a rhythm and I have a Mofo Joe that I have to respect. And talking about it, thinking about it is still in my being. But I only want it in my being 15% of the time. And I want to do things now that serve me. I'm not playing today. I didn't play yesterday. I didn't play the day before. I don't think I've played for 3 weeks. I've gone through the motions here and there, but now I never open up a racing form again. Rule number 1. If you open up a racing form, you're going to play. You're going to be on fire. You got to burn the racing form. It's done. Again, why? Mr. Repton, why? Because it's useless. It doesn't involve the trainer, the owner, the jockey, all people involved, family, friends that know the real deal. That's only revealed one place, when the race is going off, when they put the odds boards up, and you can get a little sneak peek by looking at the doubles, and you'll see the true odds board, the true handicap The true handicap is the odds board. It's numbers. It's eliminating ego and going to numbers. Where is the public going? The other day I did a race. The public was going with 4 horses, uh, you know, as contenders. Then they were going with 3 as possibly, but not as shiny as the first 4. So the first 4 would be about 4-1, 3-1, 7-2, 5-2. And then the second ones would be 10-1, 13-1, 15-1, and 16-1. And then one pimpled out at 25-1. And then you had 2 horses that were dismissed totally before in the 9, 60-1 and 48-1. That's the true odds of that particular race. And again, don't play daily doubles, pick threes, because it's like dynamite. If you're playing pick threes, pick fours, it's like grenades. It's too complicated. You have to get through 4 levels of grenades before you can win. And you have to avoid 4 of them. And people will do pick sixes. You got to avoid 6 grenades before you can win. No, I just played the race. You just play the race and only the race. And I'm only playing 1 bet, and that's superfectas. Why? Because you can get involved horses that are at 60-1. But you're not doing anything but playing the race. And I'll go over that in another episode when I go live. I'll go through all that. I'll show you a crystal clear clarity board. I'll show you the odds, including the trainer, the owner, all the people that they've told as to the likelihood of the horses. That's when you're really going to know. You're going to see a horse up there at 3-5. The word's out. That's not true handicapping. That's true. The word's out, and everybody knows that horse is going to win. I'm not looking at contenders. I'm not looking at the first 2 slots as my intention. My intention isn't on the first 2 slots. That's for you, for your pick threes, your pick fours, your daily doubles, your pick sixes. The contenders don't matter to me. The 4 horses and the 3 horses, the 7, they don't matter. What matters to me is to be contrarian. You're being contrarian. I'm looking at the horses you dismiss. I'm looking at the 4, the 9, and the 2. And what can I do with them? And the best way I can involve them is in the super. Because I want it, because I can get lucky and I can get paid if they take 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or win the race. But you don't even consider them. When you actually are handicapping them, you go through them faster than lightning. No, this one has no chance whatsoever. You hear comments like that. You hear Andy Sterling and guys that this horse here there's no reason to look at him at all. Then why is he in the race? You don't think that a horse like that has any chance to run at all? That's good. So that's where you're being contrarian. You're going someplace where nobody else is. And I know how to do that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going over there because you're not there. You're hoping, you're just looking for one of those 4 horses in your pick 6, or all 7 of those, or at least 4 or 5 of those horses in your pick 5s and pick 4s, because the degree of difficulty and the uncertainty of the races, warrants that, and that's good, because then the race is a mess. The race is highly uncertain. The race is on turf. There's the possibility of favorites getting bumped and being off the ticket is possible. You have to have at least 10 horses in the race, because you want uncertainty. You want as much uncertainty as possible, because your horse is highly uncertain. He's 68-1. He might only have 3 legs. but you're hoping he has four. You're hoping he has four and he runs a little bit. But you want to be helped by the fact that it's a big field and the favorites, can get bumped. The favorites can get out there. The favorites intention could be not that they're not going to run, even though the owners, the trainers, and the public think he is. But unfortunately, something happened somewhere along the way where he isn't. That's what you're hoping for. That's what you're going after. And after 40 years, and only through playing for 40 years could you even get to this point, because you got to go full circle. I had to have swam in the ocean for 30 years and almost drowned many, many, many times. I had to walk through the fire 10 years ago and realize I can't. I had to, somehow get to land and get to where I am now. And again, with tremendous elimination of anxiety, all because of elimination of ego, learning that you can't. You're not, something that Andy Serling needs to learn, and many other people, is the fact that this game is very, very difficult and you have to respect it. And the way you respect it is by, creating all kinds of disciplines and kung fu's to train yourself to be a winner. Again, getting back to that same phrase, did you come to play or did you come to win? And every race that you consider, you should be wowed by. I hear other people talk about that too, and I agree. You know, I don't bet a race unless I'm wowed. I let the bet make me. I have a felt sense. If my mojo in that day is not good, I'm not involved. I'm not gonna, even get involved. I'll sit in the bleachers and watch. I'll sit in the bleachers and watch. But you have to get a black belt in the art of restriction. Yeah, I like to, eat certain things, but I can't because I don't digest it correctly. Getting a black belt and I can't, it's okay. Because then you live more comfortably. You live with more of a smile. You allow yourself to smile more because you're managing yourself, because you want to be a winner. And what's being a winner is somebody who is happy, smiling. I wasn't able to do that when I was in the horse racing bubble because I was too intense. It's like driving in a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I'm driving 80. And it's a neighborhood. I'm driving 80 miles an hour. When you're a horse player, that's what you're doing. You're driving 80 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone. You're fucking out of control. I was fucking out of control. How, there's no way I'm giving myself the possibility of being a winner because you're baba boo boo, playing race after race after. You got to keep it simple, and you gotta not make it as intense as it is. Balance, learning other things, anything. It doesn't matter what you do, but you gotta learn to teach yourself to do other things. So again, if anybody ever wants to talk to me and say hello, I'm at 475-206-6569. And anybody else in the tribe that wants to chat about this, approach of playing the races, where you just hope to get lucky and get paid without ego, without thinking that you know. As Aubrey Pack used to say, may the horse be with you. All right, bye now.